Hey everyone, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Bola Bola Show podcast. I'm Steven, and once again, I'm together with my two best friends. Bala, say hi.
Hi guys, how are you all? Have a good evening. Hope you enjoy our show. Elvin?
Hi guys, welcome back again to our podcast. Hope we keep you entertained this time as well.
Okay. So this time it's a very special show. We're not going to talk about anything that is current or whatever is updated and all that, because today's show is a throwback show to the first World Cup where all three of us came together. Because it was this World Cup where you can say that our football friendship blossomed, and we are talking about none other than France '98. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Personally, this was my fourth World Cup. For you, Bala?
For me, the second World Cup after USA '94.
And for me, it's my third World Cup. Yeah.
There you go. So, in a natural fact, this is the first time ever we came together as football fans. So, this whole podcast is just focusing on what France '98 is all about. So, without further ado, let's start with our first segment.
Okay, guys, and welcome back. And our next segment is basically talking about the teams that did not qualify first for France '98. Because the most notable thing about France '98 was this is the first time FIFA actually expanded the competition from 24 to 32 teams. So one may think that the competition expanding to 32 teams, there should be more teams inside there, and the chances of you making it to the group should be higher, right? But yet still, there were some notable teams that missed out on this tournament, guys, and especially from different continents as well. So, talking about the European continent, Steven, what sort of teams missed out there?
Well, I guess the most glaring omission was Portugal. And mind you, this was Portugal when they had the golden generation, Luis Figo, Rui Costa, João Pinto. Yet surprisingly, they couldn't even make it on the playoffs. And then, of course, the other team from Europe that notably didn't make it was Sweden, because they finished third in USA '94, and yet surprisingly, they too never made it in the playoff. But what about South America and Bala? I think we have something special there.
Yeah, I think South American, traditionally, they're one of the World Cup favorites will be Uruguay, or at least expected to qualify from the group. And notably, they missed out, surprisingly, and ended up 7 in the top 9, out of the 9 of the team. So looking at 7, yes. Uruguay, yes. I think team like Paraguay also made it, and I think the team also had 2 good players, especially in name of Paulo Montero, Daniel Fonseca, who was featuring in Italian league, and also Gustavo Poyet was playing in the English Premier League at the time. So yeah, it was kind of a biggest one of the shock, especially when looking at Brazil wasn't even there in the group qualifying because
it's easier for them.
yes, and they also what do you call that? There was previous World Cup winner as well, so they go in as a defending champion. But how about other team?
Okay, we have some notable mentions like Russia, Ireland, and of course Australia. Very painful defeat against Iran in the World Cup playoff. And speaking of Iran, of course they're from Asia. We also need to focus on our country, Malaysia, as well, because what happened to them in that World Cup qualifier. So, Elvin, you want to share a little bit about Malaysia's qualifying campaign?
Yeah, Malaysia did not make it to the World Cup, and we are still waiting for the day that Malaysia will make it to the World Cup, guys. So we still have that hope in you guys, Harimau Malaya, that one day you will get there eventually. But for this qualifying campaign for France '98, Malaysia actually finished second in the group in the first round behind Saudi Arabia. But the most notable thing was on the first stage, or the first group games that were played in Malaysia for the first round, Malaysia actually had 7 points and were tied with Saudi Arabia. But when they had to travel to Jeddah after that, and by basically drawing with Chinese Taipei and they dropped points to Saudi, that's basically how they missed out on the World Cup this time. So really hope that the new generation of Malaysian footballers now listening to this will take heed of this and make it to the World Cup for us guys and all the fans here in Malaysia. Yeah?
Malaysia Boleh, I guess.
Malaysia Boleh, guys.
Okay. With that said, time for the next segment.
guys, this segment will be speaking about the best World Cup kit in 1998. As the fashion of in 1998, the jerseys not like currently where it's fitting, just for meant for the fitness guys or for the bodybuilding guys. Previously, it was full of baggy style and also more like a free flow kind of a jersey whereby the air will go to penetrate the entire body and come on in and out. So we have notable, or maybe we would say that we have a few of the best selected World Cup jerseys. So, Sivan, will you start with what do you think?
Well, I would say one of the most notable jersey was France, mainly because the design was a throwback to the same jersey that they had in Euro 1984, where the last time actually they won a major title. So basically, yeah, that's a significant part of France. And then, of course, the other one I would say is South Africa, because they had a very design 90s kind of look in that jersey, which was quite unique at that time. How about you, Elvin? Any preference you have?
Well, for me, for one of the best jerseys I like in this World Cup was actually the Asian representative, Japan. Yeah, so Japan, yes, the blue samurai. So Japan basically making their first World Cup debut came up with a fantastic looking jersey. In fact, a very we're all used to Puma, Nike, Adidas, and all that, but they showed up with their Asics jersey, right? And they had it. What I liked about it was on the sleeves there was this fantastic embroidery, like some sort of fire looking thing, and with that a bit of pinkish color and reddish together, going with their blue. And it's and then people might be wondering why Japan there's nothing blue in their flag, but what I understood why these guys went for blue was because they believe that it represents the ocean and the blue sky, which are the territories of Japan. So that's where Japan got the blue color and that fantastic design jersey for me in '98.
Not bad.
All right, guys, any other jerseys you guys want to highlight from the World Cup?
For me, it's basically Jamaica, because I think they came as a very colorful team. In terms of style, in terms of their players, it reminds you of Bob Marley and all these things. But even the jerseys also reminds me of certain of them. They're very colorful, very vibrant, very interesting team, which shows in their jerseys as well with the spirit of the play. So I think they were coming with the green and yellow kind of concept, and it was one of the best World Cup jerseys, I would say. But among three of us, we have to admit there's only one great jersey, and we agree to that. Steven, maybe can you do the honors?
Well, basically, I think when you think of France '98, there's only one jersey that's going to stand out above the rest. That is That is Mexico's Aztec design jersey.
You deserve it.
Yes. I mean, I to be honest, whoever who's listening to this podcast, or any of your friends who has that jersey, we are considering of negotiating, because to be honest, I think that's a jersey to die for. I only wish, back then, I could have just found a way to get myself one. I mean, Elvin, I think you will agree on this.
Yeah, the design of the jersey is just superb. If you look at that front, the Aztec kind of design is like, it's just amazing. Mexico, you really showed up, you really turned up in the World Cup with that jersey, man.
With also Jorge Campos wearing with he's one of the few goalkeepers. I think beginning the trend with this half sleeve. Why it was just a magical moment with him.
The thing is about Campos is that when the team wears green, he wears the white version. When the team wears the white version, he wears the green version. So yes, Mexico, when it comes to jersey, man, you stand out above the rest in that World Cup. Well done.
Kudos to you.
Yes, kudos Mexico.
All right, this is the end of our segment right now. Alright, for this segment, we'll be talking about the best World Cup matches. So I think many of you fans out there, I think they have a lot of opinions and thoughts. Do share with us. By here at the Bola Bola show, we will share a few of the games, notably 4 or 5 of the top games, which we feel is one of the highlight of the tournament. We'll be starting with the Nigeria versus Spain. And I remember watching in a Star paper, they wrote Spain, because Spain was knocked out from the World Cup of the group by Nigeria, and Paraguay made it. So Spain had the pain from the Nigerians start. Basically, Raul, I remember scoring the first goal, whereby
I think that was Spain's second goal.
Oh, sorry, Spain's second goal. But I think a lot of Zubi Zerata made a blunder, and also Sunday Olise made a very good goal from far short. So I think one of the most significant there. What do you think, Sivan?
Definitely, I think that's one of the best games, and I think a lot of people, I would say, underestimated Nigeria because they came to the World Cup as Olympic gold medalists. I mean, big part of the squad is from that Olympic team that squad in Atlanta '96 that won gold medal. And although yes, Spain, they had all the Barcelona, Real Madrid football players, but this was, I think, one hell of a game, and I think one of the Nigeria's most memorable World Cup games. So, what about you, Elvin?
Yeah, indeed, fantastic game here by Nigeria, and I mean, that Sunday Olise goal, you need not say more about that goal. What a screamer of a goal indeed to really cap off that victory there for Nigeria. So definitely an eye-opener, a shocker for Spain as a start. Yeah.
And then another interesting game followed by, you see, Brazil versus Denmark. Denmark actually conquered Nigeria in the second round. So, yeah, I think the scoreline was 3-2 favoring to Brazil. I think that was another swing up and down, up and down. Sivan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that was billed as the best striker in which Ronaldo against the best goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel. Denmark took the surprise lead to Jorgensen, and then Brazil, of course, they came back, and they took the lead by halftime. But I think the most significant part of the game, significant moment of this game was the fact that Denmark's equalizer through Michael Laudrup, because what happened was Roberto Carlos, he wanted to clear the ball, and he did a bicycle kick. Was that what happened, Elvin?
Yeah, our friend Roberto Carlos basically tried to clear the ball, trying to do a bicycle kick inside his own penalty box, not knowing who was right behind him, and of all the person the ball had to land to on the feet of Brian Laudrup. Yeah, it was Brian Laudrup, and he shot it right into the top corner, and the celebration was quite unique as well. The guys just went and slid on the ground and just posed very relaxed like that, and
Buddha celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
Sleeping Buddha celebration.
Yeah.
So
that was it.
All right. Okay, another game I would say, I mean, this is my personal opinion because I felt that this game was one of the best games in the World Cup. I think by far the most underrated game was Netherlands versus Mexico, the last group game for these two teams. Of course, the Netherlands were dominating from the beginning. They took a 2-0 lead. But Mexico, just like the game before that against Belgium, they came back to draw level 2-2, which eventually got them to the second round, the courtesy of a Luis Hernandez 94th minute equalizer, which pretty much got Mexico into the knockout stage. And for that, Mexico had to meet Germany, which, Alvin, what happened then?
Yeah. So for me personally, one of the best games I like in this World Cup was the second round game between Germany and Mexico. Sadly, Mexico's journey came to an end in this game. Sadly also for Luis Hernandez, who actually scored for the 4th time in this World Cup. 4 goals, not bad for the guy in 4 games, right? But, in the end, they came against the force of Germany. Mexico took the lead. It was a very back and forth game, lots of attacks, lots of chances. Even when Mexico took the lead at 1-0, Hernandez had a chance, in fact a sitter, to make it 2-0, and he shot it straight into the arms of Andres Kopke. Bioff, on the other hand, had a chance to put Germany in the lead, a total sitter of a header. He headed it against the bar. You don't expect something from Oliver Bioff, but what happened then? By not taking their chances, Jürgen Klinsmann, the poacher in the box, equalized for Germany. And if I'm not mistaken, about 5 minutes left in the game, 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. A cross came in, and Oliver Bierhoff placed his header perfectly into the top corner. What a header that was, to eventually win the game for Mexico. And sorry, my mistake, win the game for Germany. And that's how that game ended, and that's how Mexico's chances ended as well in that World Cup.
But I think beyond all this game you talk about, I think there's no doubt that when it comes to France 98, this is the one game that every football fan will remember. Because if you talk about among the classic World Cup games of all time, there's no denying that this game will always be there. And we're talking about Argentina versus England. Oh boy, what a game is that. But, you know what, guys? I know what you have to say. I know what you guys want to talk about this game, but we're going to leave a lot of that game in our next segment. So next up, it's none other than the best goals of France 98. So stay tuned.
Beckham now to Owen, and here's another Owen run. He's going to worry them again. It's a great run by Michael Owen, and he might finish it off. Oh, it's a wonderful goal! What an amazing moment in Michael Owen's young career. A fantastic run that frightened the Argentinians, and a most unerring finish beyond Roa to make it 2-1 England. A terrific moment.
Okay, guys, and as you all know by now, that's the sound of Michael Owen introducing himself. Not necessarily, I mean, he scored against Romania in the group stage, but that pretty much the goal that whereby, put his name right up in the map of world football as among the best young talent of the planet. Because not only ran against Argentina, but he practically made both Jose Chamot and Roberto Ayala, they became his fan, to be honest. They were like the biggest fans of Michael Owen during that moment. And I will leave it to Elwin because he knows what's going on right now.
Yeah, basically, if you look at both those two guys, Chamot and Ayala, especially Ayala, he was standing and watching for a while in admiration, and then probably he realized that Owen was already at top speed. That's when he decided to start his engine, and by the time he got close, Owen just got past him easily and just basically put the ball into the top corner. So yeah, I mean, Ayala and Chamot probably were better off sitting on the stands watching that game. Yeah.
I think Roa would have stunned also. I think most likely after the goal was scored, Roa I think might have looked at Chamon and Ayala, what the hell he was doing there? They should at least give him a challenge, but still a good goal because of the way the angle and the finishing also was superb. I think another goal we must mention here is the Zenit's goal, Sivan.
Yeah, definitely, because the fact is by then England were leading 2-1. Momentum was absolutely in their favor. Argentina were really in panic mode, and they were trying to find a way how they can penetrate that England defense. And that Javier Zanetti goal was, a masterclass setup. I think, Elwin, what do you say? I mean, it was like practice makes perfect kind of goal.
Yeah, exactly. The way those guys went and cut up and confused the whole defense and just left Zanetti there. And bear in mind, Zanetti with his left foot. Yeah, okay, Zanetti. First thing, Zanetti scoring goals is already so rare. Zanetti scoring a goal with his left foot. How about that, guys?
I think the game was simply favoring was England that time, headed by Sol Campbell. So I think they needed this break. But I think that goal, until now I haven't seen any other game. Maybe there's one, but I can't remember any I recall. But I think this is one of the best setup for the free kick as well. We also have a few notable goals as well. How about we start with Haji versus Norway, Elvin?
So this is where Mustafa Haji. So if you guys recall, last episode we gave a shout out to last two episodes. We gave a shout out to our first episode to Mustafa Haji. Well, this is where Mustafa Haji showed himself in the World Cup. What a goal, guys! I mean, what a ball control. The way the ball like just stuck to his feet, and the finish. Man, I'm telling you guys. Why don't you elaborate further about this goal?
I mean, basically, I think it was Dan Egan that was coming up against him, but Haji sort of made a little bit move to the left, and then straight away cut through the right and left everybody gobsmacked on the field and fired the ball straight into the bottom corner to put Morocco in the lead. I mean, definitely one of the most memorable goal from that World Cup, and of course the pass from Saha, that was an amazing pass. So basically, it was a goal which has one of the best passes with the best finishing, complementing and all that. So next up, what else we have?
But I think Saha's pass was reminding of Juan Sebastian Vera outside the boot.
Whoa. Let's not get into that further.
Okay. Let's move on to Adrian Healy versus Colombia. What good about the game, or how the goal been built up? Can you talk about that?
Okay, basically the build-up, if you watch this goal, the build-up, Haji did try a back heel of a pass. Somehow it got deflected, and Healy picked up the scrap just outside the penalty box. Managed to beat the defender, but still put himself in a very tight spot with a very tight angle. But what a chip! Like the guy just picked the spot on the far corner and perfectly just put it into the net. So this was another very technically gifted player and a great goal as well. You know, Adrian Ely. Yeah.
I think the game was, I think the highlighter was what George Haji, but the way he finished, I think the brilliance and the mind he had that moment, cool finish, I think that speaks everything, Sivan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, sometimes you need to remember that, you know, to make that kind of finish, it takes a lot of intelligence right up in the head, and Adrian Ely definitely has it. I mean, his DNA is just superb. It was definitely one of the best goals in that World Cup. So, moving on, we have another interesting goal, which I think we all sort of agreed, which is Pierre Nyanka of Cameroon against Austria. So, Elvin, that's another amazing goal, I suppose.
Yes, Pierre Nyanka, yeah. Started from the half of the field, just past the half line, and the way he got past two defenders, put himself in an angle and shot the ball, cut in and shot the ball with his right foot into the top corner. But you know, it was so powerful. It was like an unstoppable shot, guys. Unstoppable.
This game was reminding me more like, you know, kind of flair, because he ran so fast. He beat two defenders, and the goalkeeper also stunned because the finish. I think the Australian goalkeeper never had a chance.
No, definitely there was no chance. There was no way. That goal was like an unstoppable force coming its way. There was no way the Austria goalkeeper could have, saved that. But let's talk about one more interesting fact about this game. Bala, what do you know?
Is there anything called by Malaysia, Sivan?
Absolutely right. Because the manager of the Cameroon national team was none other than Claude Leroy, former Malaysia national team manager.
Claude Leroy, shout out to you, man.
and the interesting part is that, you know, I don't know, legend has it that Claude Leroy found Pierre Nyanka playing in some corner. I mean, I don't know how far this is true, but maybe some of you guys can verify it for us. But actually discovered the player in one corner village somewhere in Cameroon, and he realized this guy is is a gifted talent, and took him to the World Cup. So, wow, I mean, again, in one of those cases where, you know, not good for Malaysia, but still one of the best coaches in the World Cup. You know, I know it doesn't juggle well, but that's the reality of then. So what's the next goal, Bala?
The next goal, I think we should not forget Blanco versus the Belgium team. I think one of the best passes cross, which I think Roman Ramsey totally got wrong. I think, but the finish for a left-footer, Elvin, I think you're very interested.
So actually, the cross from Raymond Ramirez was so powerful. It cut across the goal, with Blanco rushing in on the right hand side. To me, the cross perfectly fitted a right-footed player. All the right-footed player needed to do was just put in his right foot and he's into the net. But Blanco, being a predominantly left-footed guy, decided to take things to a different level. And guys, I mean, he just the way he scored it, he just, you know, sticking out his left foot and putting it in. You know, not many can do that. But Blanco, we have seen you do lots of interesting things this World Cup, man. And that's definitely one of the good goals there.
But also, Raman Ramirez cross reminds me of Sri Ganesh. When I played futsal court, he gave a cross, and I hated it, and I got concussion. And I think similarly happened here, but thank God Blanco did a better finish, and we'll be finishing our best goal for the best goal ever. Sivan?
Well, of course, there's a lot of being said about Owen's goal against Argentina is considered the best goal in that World Cup. But personally, the fact that Chamor and Ayala did nothing, I just think it's just a bit exaggerated. Because for me, the best goal in this World Cup, well, it breaks my heart whenever I think about this goal. It breaks all of our heart. Yes. But no doubt about it, Elvin, we have to admit, this was ultimately one of the best finish in football.
Yes, it was. It was definitely one of the greatest finishes in football. And I must say, this time, Chamor and Ayala did something. but the thing was, it wasn't good. It wasn't good enough still, because they came face to face with Dennis Bergkamp, guys. Yes. Dennis Bergkamp, the way that deft first touch, the way he got the ball down, the way he put it in, and the way he scored it with the outside of his boots, right into the top corner. Carlos Roa everybody just watched, especially for Argentina fan, you watched in horror. Because why? You know, time is running out, and with that kind of goal, that basically can end any game, guys. Yep, any game.
I think prior to the build-up for the game, I think Ortega got red card.
Yes.
And then I think, supposedly, some rhythm went off. When the long ball was thrown to Dennis Bergkamp, the non-flying Dutchman made a superb move. And even though, as an Argentina fan, we 3 hours were totally horrendous. But I wish I was a Holland fan that moment of time. That kind of finish, I think, is simply speechless.
I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, you know, you don't have to be a fan of Holland or any team for that matter. As long as you appreciate, you love football, you know for a fact that this goal is one of those goals where, you know, it's football's gift from heaven. Yeah. So, Dennis Bergkamp, as a football fan, I mean, you hurt my feeling, yes, but thank you so much for a wonderful goal. Every football fan would definitely appreciate this very, very much. So, we wrap up with the best goal. Of course, you guys will also have a final say on this. Do share with us. But we're going to move on to the next segment, which is the most disappointing thing about France.
There you have it, guys. This brings us to the end of part 1 of Bola Bola's take on the France 98 World Cup. We hope that we kept you guys entertained with all our information and our take on this World Cup, and we hope to keep you guys continued to be entertained, and do look forward to our second part of this series, which will be coming out soon. And over there we do touch on interesting topics as what Steven mentioned just before we ended, things like the disappointing moments, the best moments, and the most awaited part, Bola Bola's best 11 of the France 98 World Cup. So once again, guys, thank you for all your support, your shares, your likes, and your subscriptions in all the things that we are doing here. And do take care. And before we end, Majulah Bola Bola untuk negara.